Hey, welcome back. Let's talk about press release. Now, up to 5 years ago, getting a backlink through press release was huge. It would get your site on page one of search engines fairly quickly by just doing a press release. It doesn't work like that anymore. So press release will boost your SEO, but indirectly. In other words, the backlink that's coming from the press release you do will not really help your rankings. But here's how it can help. Let's say if you get featured on a news site and that attracts attention to your business. So you get people who are looking at your story or the reason why you are in the news. Some of those people will click on the link to your website and they'll go to your website, which means now you got more traffic going to your site. If they love your site, if they like what they see, they may end up staying on your website and they may go from one page to another page or go through all the blog posts or videos that you have, right? So now they're staying on your site, they're checking your site out. So they might be checking different services you provide, they might check different blog posts, and so on. As they go through these posts, and if they like what they see, they may end up sharing it on social media. They may email a link to a friend. They may email a link to your website. They may send link of your website to a friend. They may share it in a group. And that's why I always say have value added posts to your site, because when new people find your site and if they like what they see, they will share that on social media. Okay. So now this indirectly will get you some backlinks, or some of those may be high quality backlinks. So technically the press release itself did not help you rank high. But because of that, you got some traffic. And because of that traffic, you got some links from social media. Or some of those people may link to your site from their own website. So the time that people spend on your website, plus the backlinks that you're getting due to the press release from social media sites, will help your site rank high. And so that's why I'm saying it's not a direct way to increase rankings of your website, but indirectly, if done right, it will. And this all changed because people were doing so many press releases that Google decided finally to not give any ranking factor for a backlink coming from a press release. It's only because it was done so much. Otherwise, who knows? It might be working even today. And when it comes to SEO, just like anything else, don't overdo it, okay? Which means you shouldn't be sending out a press release every week or every other day. Do it only when necessary and when it makes sense. When it comes to a press release, make sure you have it written by a professional. Writing a press release is different from writing a blog post, okay? It's completely different. So you must have a person who understands how to write a release do it. Don't try to do it in-house. Don't try to have your content writer do it either. Find somebody who's a professional who knows how to write press releases, okay? Like I said, I'll repeat it. It is written completely differently than what you would put on your website. Make sure it's actually newsworthy, which means you're not sending out a release just because you changed all the furniture of your office, okay? Or because you bought a new computer. That doesn't make sense. So it better be something that's newsworthy. And once again, just like your website content, write for the audience, write for the readers, not for SEO purposes, okay? That doesn't work when it comes to press release. Make sure people who are reading your release, they like it. And they like it so much that they feel like clicking on the link to your website in the press release itself, okay? So write for them, not for SEO purposes. If you're doing an event, you can always announce that to your local press. So that way you can get some exposure through press releases, through newspapers. So think of an event. These times are tough to do events. Maybe you can wait, but when the time is right, maybe by this summer, things will get better and people will start coming out again, start going to events. And so at that point, you can announce an event, you can organize an event and share it with your local press. Now, you can always do a release if you hire somebody. If you launch or introduce a new service, maybe you launch a new charity, you can do a press release then. Or a milestone, which means let's say your business completes 10 years of being in business, or 20 years or 30 years or 25 years, it's your silver jubilee or something like that. So you can always do a release for something like this. Maybe you can organize a fundraiser. This past summer, a friend of mine organized a fundraiser, and he raised about $10,000. And then he put some of his own money, and he used that money to provide 1,000 free meals to local people. Because, there's a lot of job losses in past few months. And so there's a lot of unemployed people out there. So that's what he did. Now, he was in local news all over. He was in local paper, he was in local news, he was on TV, and so on. So maybe you can do something like that. First thing first, it's going to help others, right? So he gave away 1,000 free meals. That means it helped at least 1,000 people. If they took those meals, some of those people, they took that food home, maybe then it helped more than 1,000 people, but at least 1,000 because he gave away 1,000 meals. He spent a couple of days on Facebook talking about his plan. And so he was able to raise quite a bit of money. And like I said, then he added some more and he got this thing done. So something like that, if you do, that helps your local community, that helps others, will definitely get attention. So you can do something like that and let local media know beforehand. So when there were a line of cars outside his restaurant where he was giving away food from, the reporters were already there. So he must have told them ahead. The reporters were there. They took pictures. They made videos of lines of cars and whatnot. And so he was in the news all over the place. So see if you can do something like that. When it comes to press release, make sure you use images, you use links to your social media, not just your website. So if you have a Facebook page, you can do that. If you have a YouTube page or a YouTube channel, you can add a link to your YouTube channel. So people will not just click on your website, they might also click on your social media links from the press release. Plus, it adds credibility. So make sure when you do a release, if you can have multiple links in that release, then don't just send all the links to your website, but also add links to your social media platforms and so on, your other profiles, maybe even your Google My Business page. And finally, when you want to do a press release or when you decide to do a press release, make sure you submit it to real reporters, journalists, news sites, and so on. I've already shown you how to do that. Don't use a service from, let's say, Fiverr or outsource it, because there are services out there who will say, we will distribute your press release to 100 news sites or 50 news sites. You don't want your release on those news sites. You shouldn't get backlinks from such websites, because when these guys go out there and distribute your press release, they're not going to reputable local news channels. These might be news sites which are not even in the country. Maybe they're outside US. So you want to make sure, or you must make sure, that when you have a press release going out, you send it out to real people, real news channels, real journalists, real reporters. It's a bit of work, but it's worth it. And once you do this, don't forget to share your results in the Facebook group. Let's see how that went. If you get great results, that's good. If you don't, you can even share that. And then everybody can pitch in and tell you what you did wrong, what you should do next time. We can all learn from each other on an everyday basis. Okay. So I hope that was helpful. You'll do some press releases when the time is right. And I'll see you in the next video.